Hey witches, if you are enjoying Waking Up the Witch, then you're definitely going to want to check out my magical shop, Moonbee's Wellness in Medford, Oregon. We have a curated collection of crystals, incense, sage, witchy books, tarot, oracle, and so much magic made locally here in the Rogue Valley. Whether you're just beginning your witchy path or you've been on this journey for quite a while, we have so many items to support where you are in your journey. And we ship anywhere in the US, so no need to be local. But Moonbees is more than just a shop. We are also a sacred space and supportive to your healing journey. I'm a Reiki master, and I also offer a lot of intuitive sessions, including past life readings and past life regression sessions. And all of this can be done virtually online, so I can help you no matter where you're at. Come visit us in Southern Oregon or follow Moonbees Wellness on Instagram and Moonbees_Medford on TikTok. And remember, magic's this way.
This episode of Waking Up the Witch is brought to you by Taylor Pickett Styles. I'm Taylor Pickett, and I am an intuitive hairstylist in Southern Oregon. I offer in-person services as well as online tutorials on how to care for your curly hair, how to properly shampoo your hair. If you're a hairstylist, I offer lots of education and one-on-one consulting on how to build your clientele and take care of your clients. If you're interested in any of these services, please reach out to me. There will be a link in the bio. I also offer organic hair care from Innocence Organic Beauty, and you can also buy that online through me, link in the bio, and also on my Instagram page, Taylor Pickett Styles. I also have a TikTok page if you're into just talking a little bit more deeply about things, going into deeper dives about hair care, self-love, and self-worth. My TikTok handle is Southern Oregon Curl. And don't forget, tame nothing, nourish everything. Enjoy this episode. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Amber.
And this is
Waking Up the Witch. We're your neighborhood witches. Each week, we talk about all things witchy and connect with other humans in a storytelling format about navigating life on this floating rock.
We're two curious ladies trying to understand the human experience. But while we do that, we think it's important to honor the people that lived here before us and honor the cultures and traditions that we're being inspired by.
This podcast is about waking up the witch, which means we are learning and growing every day. That being said, we are always open to feedback on how we can do better.
The views and opinions of our guests don't necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Waking Up the Witch. Now, let's go, ghouls. Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
Hi.
What's up?
Hanging out with my bestie here.
Hey.
What's up with you?
Oh, nothing. Getting ready to hop on a co-creation manifestation call with our Patreon baddies.
Yay, I'm so excited for this.
We kind of did one group chat hang once, but we've lowered the tier for this call that we've done. So at like the medium level tier, it's like $9.99.
Mm-hmm.
You can come on and then we'll chat about like your dreams and goals and all the things you want to manifest, and we'll kind of put those into the universe together. And then you have a little bit of homework to go home with, and it's just a way to connect and amplify kind of your manifestations.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think too, like, manifestation has kind of been this buzzy energy for a few years, especially. And like what not only what are we manifesting for ourselves and our livelihood, but like what are we manifesting for this planet and our country and all of that? Like,
Yeah.
how do we come together as witches and help transform each other's lives by speaking it into existence and figuring out what actions we need to take, breaking that down. So it's just a like fun little monthly vibe out, hang out, with our Patreon witches. So I'm very excited. I think our little swap, if you don't know, Patreon got a little bit of a makeover this month and everyone got a major upgrade pretty much. We ditched playlists for now and instead moved some things around so that everyone gets some awesome magic. So at this tier, you get a whole lot of cool shit like monthly spells or meditations, and there's a monthly zine that's loaded with astrology info and other self-care things, tarot spreads, other cool things. And then we have also on one of the tiers you get, I think it's the $9.99, you get a free monthly episode and quarterly Q&A fun extra, like get to know your witches episode, and then our call that we do every month.
It's a lot.
I think there's something else too I'm forgetting, but there's a whole lot of cool stuff on our Patreon. We really love to just pour back into you all. We're so grateful for those who hang out with us, who listen, who subscribe, who share with friends, all of that stuff. So if you're interested and you want to join us, go to patreon.com/wakingupthewitch and come and hang out with us. We also have a really cool chat over there where we just like do tarot card pulls and stuff for you each month. So yeah, I'm excited for our call tonight. It's gonna be fun. What a good full fucking day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We've been here since 9:30
Which
and
is
it's
great.
like 3:30.
It was time change. So
Oh yeah,
we're time travelers.
we are time travelers.
And I was sick for like a week, and
You also went to Austin.
I did. It was good.
So good.
I don't even have anything to say about it. I'm just tired.
I'm sure you'll tell us over on Patreon.
Did I go to Austin? Who knows?
Speaking of Austin,
Our guest today was amazing. You know, a soul friend when you hear one.
I know this really is like classic waking up the witch conversation.
Is there wine in here?
It's an empty cup for your wine.
Holy shit.
It's happy hour for us now.
What the hell?
This is in the future of this recording, so yeah. We're gonna enjoy some wine now.
Okay.
Enjoy this conversation with our guest, Danielle.
Yeah, we loved you, Danielle. This was so fun. Hope
so
we
much
can
fun.
hang out one day. This was amazing.
Yeah, I learned a lot. I'm excited to go deep dive some more. So,
all right,
enjoy. Okay, so we'll just start by closing our eyes if you're in a space where you can do that and that feels safe. And let's take 3 deep grounding breaths in through the nose and exhaling out the mouth. First one, breathe in deep into the belly and release. Another big breath in and release. So next one, the biggest one you've had all day. Breathe in, a little deeper, and exhale. We like to invite in all our spiritual guides, our ancestors, and our higher selves to be here with us, helping to create a loving container for our beautiful conversation to unfold, allowing for whatever is meant for the collective to hear today to come through. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, hi, welcome to Waking Up the Witch. Please introduce yourself and what are your big 3 if you know them?
Oh, I know them. Hi, I'm Danielle Mercurio, and I'm a Leo sun, Leo moon, Leo rising.
Oh my goddess.
Well, yeah, I was like, oh, I am aware.
Wow, that's so interesting. I'm excited to hear how that shows up for you. Amazing. Well, take us back to the beginning of your life. Tell us all about you, Danielle.
Yes. Well, I do feel that, and I very much believe this with astrology, that we chose the moment we were meant to be here.
Oh, yeah, we believe
We
that
chose
too.
that moment that we knew we would be taking that first breath so that we could look back one day and be like, "Oh, what was going on in that moment, on that
Mhm.
day, in the cosmos, in the news, day of the
Mm,
week?" All of that
mhm.
becomes clues, which I find to be so amazing, and, even the fact that I chose the triple Leo destiny is
Right, chills.
yeah, yeah, it's good stuff, and, what I will say, though, so what's interesting for me, for oldest of 4, my mother's first child, she was going through her Saturn return, which is a moment in our life where we're kinda having that quarterly review and
Mhm.
things are being disrupted, and then I was actually born on my Saturn line. So when we look at location
Whoa.
astrology, we can see where the planets were doing its thing, and so I was born on my Saturn line while my mom was going through her Saturn return. We were
Nice.
also in the middle of a move. So I literally was born into the hospital and then it wasn't time to go into our actual home yet, so I was in a hotel for the first 2 weeks of my
Oh,
life.
wow. That's so
Yes.
fascinating.
It really is, and it's interesting because in my adulthood, I have traveled around so much. I move a lot, and I do feel more at home in somebody else's space, like a hotel or an Airbnb. This is my preference. As soon as I move into an actual home,
Wow.
I'm like, "Wait, did I really just sign my life away for a year?"
Yes.
What?
Oh my
So it's
gosh.
so interesting just right there how that in and of itself kind of shaped the trajectory,
Right.
for me, and how I live my life. And having that awareness though also becomes helpful in realizing like there are seasons and I do need
Yeah.
to ground and all of that. So all that to say, so it started off in that fashion, living in a hotel, and then we did move around a little bit when I was younger until things kind of settled in my teenage years, but I grew up in a very traditional Catholic household. That
Mhm.
was very much the dynamic church every Sunday. That was the way. And at the same time, even though I was living in a context of Catholic Church, that's religion, that's God, there was
Mhm.
always this feeling of there's something else. I could
Mhm.
see my angels, I could see ghosts, things of that nature, but I didn't really know what to do with it. And it was when I was 4 years old, it's a kind of an interesting story. We were at the grocery store, and I don't know if anyone remembers, there used to be, like, astrology scrolls that you could, like, pull from the checkout line.
Oh my god, I do remember that. I've not thought about that since I was a kid. That's crazy.
Yes, yes, and so I remember seeing them, and I showed my mom, and I was like, 'cause I'm August 9th, so I was like, "Oh, Leo." So I, like, showed the scroll to my mom, like, "I want this," and she like, the look on her face was
Yeah.
just, "No, that's not for you."
No.
No, and so I did what any person who I am today would do, and I when no one was looking, I totally put it in my pocket.
100%.
Yes.
Forbidden fruit, I must know what this is.
Truly, truly, yes, kids getting in trouble for stealing, like, candy or
Oh.
toys, and I'm like, "But it's my faith.
Give me the knowledge.
You need this wisdom." So, I will never forget that day, though, and I'll never forget, like, going home and, like, going to my room and, like, unfolding it and seeing, like, the picture of the lion, and I could read okay at that time, and I remember just kind of reading what I could, and I just felt this, like, connection, and I was like, "When I
Wow.
grow up, I wanna be a Leo," and that just
Oh, that's so sweet. I
it
love
was
that.
Cute.
little
Oh my
lioness. Uh,
goodness.
and I feel like I didn't realize it clearly at the time, but I connected with Leo so much because it was also my moon, which,
Yeah.
Moon rising. So, uh, so I knew like it was like this very strange sensation growing up of being like, okay, I was told that I'm not allowed to have this. This
Mhm.
is wrong. And at the same time, I feel so connected to it. And so it
Yeah.
was really an interesting place to be. And then I did start to discover, oh, there's like books about this. Like when you go to the library,
Mhm.
there's like the new age or the occult section, or go to the bookstore. And so that's what I would do. Like whenever I had the chance, I would ride my bike to the bookstore or, sneak off to that section in the library
Cute.
and I would learn anything I could around astrology or metaphysics, around being a Leo. And then I started understanding, oh, there's other, signs
More
and
people.
and and
Mhm.
this is what the other signs mean. And it just was this really interesting secret hobby of mine that I was
Wow.
so drawn
Crazy.
to. Yeah, so that was that, and then yes, and then if my mom did find a book, or then I realized there was tarot. Like, it
Mhm.
just goes to show you these things will find you.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's so fascinating how they do, and now we have technology and so many resources available, to make it easier in so many ways.
Totally.
Sometimes it can make it harder because it's like, "Whoa, there's so much out."
Yeah.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, but however, though, it was just, always this interesting thing of, like, this feels right to me, and yet, if my mom found a book, it was in the trash, or,
Yeah.
tarot, it's like, "You're doing some dark magic over here."
Right.
And when it came time to go to college, no one was like, "Here's how you, become an astrologer or crystal
Uh-huh.
call 101." Uh, so that was yeah, it was definitely interesting to be in this world, to feel like you were different, to feel
Mhm.
connected to this interesting lineage, and yet I had 0 physical or personal connection to it outside of my own self.
Yeah.
Something I keep thinking is like a lot of times when you read like a horoscope or something in a magazine, you're like, okay, maybe that doesn't like feel like it pertains to me because it might be your like sun or your moon sign or your rising, but it probably always pertained to you because
Yeah.
you have all three the
Exactly.
same.
Yeah, that's
I
Like,
why it's
feel
like
so seen.
yeah.
so spot on. I was like, "Yep, Leo, Leo, Leo," where other people are like, "My Gemini doesn't resonate," because they're a Capricorn rising,
Yeah,
or, whatever it may be,
exactly.
and I love it and I prefer it, and at the same time, sometimes I'm like, "Oh, I would love, like, a little spicy, trilogy of signs." Like, it would be
Yes.
maybe nice to have a little something else in there.
But it feels so much more rare to be a triple threat like that. You don't
Yeah,
hear that often.
Especially Leo. That's like crazy.
I know, I know.
Love it.
You're special. I love it. So,
I mean,
yeah, like, what
that's
was
what a
it?
Leo wants to
I
hear,
know,
so
Right.
yeah. So, like, when your family would happen upon and find things, was it, like, a really big deal? Were you punished? Was there big talks about it? Or could you even question why they thought it was so bad?
no, it was very much, "This is wrong. This is your the devil created this." It was very much that narrative. It was very much,
Yeah.
"This goes in the trash." And there was no, like, punishment per se. I think
Mhm.
the punishment was, "You can't have this."
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah.
And keep going to church. And it wasn't like I was 100% opposed to going to church, but same thing, though, there were things that I questioned, like, I don't
Right.
understand why there's always, like, these rules, and
Yeah.
why this, why that. Like, I very much was connected to Mother Mary and angels, and I
Mhm.
I loved, when there were moments within the church where you could honor those things and learn about
Right.
her and whatnot, but it always felt so limiting to me and so confusing, and
Same.
at the same time, when you're especially, it was more my mother that was just so literally dead set on me not doing this. It was confusing. And what's interesting, though, my gifts, so I'm, in addition to astrology, I have psychic gifts,
Mhm.
and things of that nature. It does come from my mother line. And so,
Yeah.
and I know she has premonitions. I've
Yeah.
seen them, I've witnessed it.
Mhm.
Like, moments will come over her and she has them, and I know they scare her very much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in my adulthood, I now see it as she was trying to protect me,
Mhm.
and she saw this as dangerous, and saw it as a threat, and saw it as me opening doors I
Yeah.
shouldn't.
Mhm.
And I can I don't know, I can see that, and I
Mhm.
acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And I also know that this is my unique path, and
Yeah.
I have
Totally.
to share that too.
Is your mom still around?
She is.
Do you
Uh,
guys talk about any of this stuff now that you
oh,
understand like yourself more and like what these things are?
mhm. Yes. So basically, I would say it was around my Saturn return to, like, my mid-20s. That's when I really started to, because what was happening for me, because I wasn't doing what I, quote unquote, was meant to in the world. It was still like teenage years. I went to school for elementary ed because I was like, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to get a
Right.
job and I'm supposed to do the things society is telling me.
Mhm.
But I knew deep down it wasn't right. And so I kind of rebelled. I wound up just after college working at restaurants, which is an amazing experience.
Very
Mhm.
fun.
And I was living in Philly at the time. And at the same time, though, I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't understand my future because my future was never really uh, in encouraged and it was never given the room to explore. So I just felt trapped all the time. So felt trapped for a while, really just kind of fell into escapism. I was partying a lot, just
Mhm.
really just kind of doing whatever. It was really just a day by day thing. I was like, I would wake up in the morning and I would still pray and I'd be like, God, just get me through today.
Mhm.
And that was kind of my mantra until it just got really, really bad. And I started to go to therapy and I was sober for a while and things of that nature. And so as I started to do all of that, I started to find meditation. I studied Buddhist philosophy for a while. That's when I got angry at mom. That was my period
Yeah.
of like, wait a
Chills.
minute, you denied me the life that I want to cultivate or even the ability to explore what I want or to be curious. So there was this feeling of you're wrong. And I was like
Mhm.
really in this like bitter, angry, didn't want to talk to her phase. So
Yeah.
that was like one stretch,
Were
which I
you still
don't
going were you
recommend. Go
still
ahead.
going to church, like, during that time too? Like
On and off.
so
I would go and I mean, I still do. I go when I visit,
Mhm.
home, my parents' house, I will go to church with them still,
Mhm.
during the holidays. I mean, my parents are the type, even if they're on vacation, they go to church.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it is that.
My
And
parents are like that too.
oh, good.
Yeah, my dad's a deacon of the Catholic
Oh,
Church, so
mhm. Yeah. So, yeah,
it's
but
it's deep
my mom
there
would love
too.
him.
Yeah, they'd be friends.
Yeah, they would totally be friends. And so yes, and I will say where they live, they're in Pennsylvania, and they like to go to this one cathedral, and I do like to go there because it's fun to look at the imagery and
Yeah, the architecture
yeah,
is beautiful and yeah,
totally,
good
and try to
vibes.
yeah, definitely. So you just make the best of it. But I don't go on my own anymore per se,
Mhm.
and I kind of have my own. Uh, practice, if you will, and what I
Yeah.
like to show up for and what feels good. So,
Yeah.
but I will say after the angry phase wasn't really working, and
No.
Shocker.
no, it's like it's that feeling of, and I tell this to anybody, like when you feel like you have something to prove, like you just got to turn it back to you. Like when you're pointing the finger
Yeah.
and being like it's your fault or whatever, it's like you got to turn that finger around, and be like, all right, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Why is this happening? And so I softened and I just found more compassion and I just stopped bringing it up or talking about it in that way and
Mhm.
just looked at her as my mother. And then what was really interesting though, as I started to I actually got certified as a life coach and then started to bridge in astrology and start to do this more professionally, she was very uncomfortable with it, and I
Yeah.
kept trying to, like, let her know that this was my way to help people, but she just didn't get it, and then
Mhm.
one day she calls me and she goes, "Do you know who Wayne Dyer is?" And I was like, "Yes, I know who Wayne Dyer is," and she's like, "I watched some movie that he did," and she goes, "I had no idea that was what spirituality meant for you." She's like,
Ugh,
"I didn't realize that that's how you connect to God and
wow.
and the way that he shares about life and connection." She's like, "I see it, and I realize it's
Mm.
not coming from a bad place." And
Wow, that's huge.
yeah,
That's
so
really
Wayne Dyer
huge.
shaped our relationship.
So validating. I'm sure you're like, finally, I'm not over
Yeah,
here worshiping the devil.
that's the thing, and I mean, even if I was, I mean,
I know.
technically, it's my right. Yeah,
Exactly.
and it was like, this is all coming from the best place possible, and
Yeah,
it's also my space to learn because when you do open
totally.
up into spirituality or you open up into new age practices or you open up into some of these things, it can you're opening up your own shadows, but you may also open up energetic shadows too. So
Mhm.
I have had some moments that were a little dark or a little bit scary, but I
Yeah,
navigated through them and it gave me more wherewithal to be able to show up in the ways I do now.
right,
Mhm.
totally.
And like heal family lineages
Yeah.
and
Yeah, your
Mhm.
ancestors are
It's
like, "We weren't able to,"
yeah.
and cheering you on for doing so.
I do
Totally.
feel bad for some, like, a lot of our parents
I know.
for, feeling like it's wrong to be a little open-minded, because I do think there's more struggling and suffrage in, not being able to explore your own mind or the
Mhm.
world or any of these things, and so I do have, like, sympathy for that, because it is hard, but and they're just doing what they've always been told, which, I mean, I
Yeah.
could never just do that. But
No, we're the rebellious era.
yeah,
Yeah,
no way. I'm
totally.
like, "You tell
Mhm.
me twice, no way."
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I get it, and that's like another common thread that, like we were saying earlier, we talk to people all the time, and most people on this podcast have like a very similar situation. So many Catholics.
Yeah, lots of
It's
Catholicism.
so many Catholics. I mean,
So interesting.
Catholicism is kind of like witchy and like a
Mhm.
little creepy. There's the cloaks and the candles and the wine. Like, it's a little
Yeah.
sexy
Yeah,
and
the
like
confessionals, they're kind of
Yeah,
a vibe.
right.
the art is
And
beautiful. Like, yeah. So
Exorcisms.
yeah.
it
There's
makes
just
sense why
so
we're
much
all witches.
control still wrapped up in
Mhm.
that. Like, I know the conversations I've
Yes.
had with my mom, it's like at at the end of it, she is so deep in her belief system that she worries for our souls, like
Mhm.
that we aren't practicing her belief system, and like gets really emotional about it. And I
Mhm.
just tell her, like, are any of us doing harm to others? Are any of us bad people? At the end of the day, you should know that our souls are totally fine because we're good human beings and we're doing the best that we can. Just because we're
Mhm.
not going and receiving communion every week doesn't
Mhm.
mean that our souls are in danger. Like, truly, like, listen to yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Break it down.
No, I
But it's
know.
just so the indoctrination of it
Yeah.
all, like, I can also empathize with and have compassion for,
Mhm.
her being so deep in it,
I would love to hear some of your like
Me
psychic
too.
or like ghosty stories from your
Sure.
childhood that you remember.
Yeah. The first was this old school sailor that would show up to my room. This old, like the old man with the
What?
yellow raincoat hat and the yellow
Mhm.
coat.
Well, that makes my
He,
eyes water.
you know, he was like pale, blue eyes, tan beard. It's amazing that I can still remember it so vividly.
Mhm.
And I remember when it started happening, it was confusing because it's like, if anyone's seen a ghost before, often it shows up as like a hologram. It's
Mhm.
not thick. It's kind of like in and out, almost like staticky. And
Mm.
I remember when he first showed up, I was just like, "Do I know you? What is this?" I wasn't afraid in the way that like, "Oh no, there's a actual person in my room and it's a
Yeah.
threat." But it was scary because I didn't understand what it was. It
Mhm.
was that kind of fear.
How
And
old?
so, uh, I'd say I was around
Oh,
5 when
okay.
I started seeing. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I was around 5, and so he would show up a lot, but he would just, he liked to just kinda, like, sit, and, like, sometimes it looked like he was, like, reading. He would
Huh.
just kinda, like, chill, and then one day, I said, "I don't want you here anymore," and then he just nodded at me and walked out.
Hmm.
Wow.
And that's kind of been my practice ever since.
Yeah.
So I choose not to see as much as possible. I prefer
Mhm.
not to be clairvoyant, which is the ability to see. I prefer to be
Mhm.
clairaudient, which is the ability to hear. I would rather
Mhm.
communicate through messages, voices, than to actually see. It
Yeah.
it just works better for me. But when it does happen, I tend to really go into this mode of get out of here, and I'll get
Yeah.
angry, and I'll
Yeah.
just be like, "Get the F." I don't we can swear on
Yeah.
here, but I'll
Yeah.
Oh,
"Get
yeah.
the." Okay, alright, so I'm, like, literally like, "Get the fuck out of here." Like,
Uh-huh.
I've definitely developed that practice because the thing is sometimes they need that jarring, that jolt,
Mhm.
to exit. And I find with like what I've also found in working with ghosts over the years, a lot of times they're trapped or they're confused and they
Yeah.
don't like for whatever reason. A lot of times these individuals, they died suddenly or
Mhm.
they died without any context, so they don't know where to go. And so
Mhm.
it's like you also have to be like, I need you to leave, or it's time for you to cross over, or whatever it
Mhm. I love
uh
that you bring that up. I one of the things I do is teach intuitive psychic development for people who are they know they're aware, but they don't really know how to navigate it and don't realize how much control we actually do have over our gifts.
Mm,
And so a big
yes,
thing that we do teach is boundaries with spirit. And, it seems so silly that we could literally just be like, get the fuck out of here, and they have to listen. It seems
yeah,
so simple, but it's true, and I think that's, like, one of the biggest things that, like, if anyone listening is, like, having these experiences, it's so empowering to be able to reclaim your energy in that way and know that you don't have to see. It is an option for you, and you just have to state that that's something you desire in your abilities, you know?
Yeah,
like,
and like Danielle just said, making it clear like, okay, I'm fine to receive, but
Mhm.
I choose like to hear you instead of see you.
Yeah.
Like you're allowed to connect with me, but
Mhm.
this is like the way that I choose that.
Yeah, you're in charge.
exactly. Remember, it's your autonomy, your authority, and
Yeah.
it's why I like that you brought up. It can be really empowering.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's
absolutely.
very healing to like stand up to a ghost
I
and like
know.
yell. Like it's like support it. Yeah, it's like
Totally.
At least someone listens to me.
like,
Yeah,
finally,
so funny.
yes,
I just think, like, our media and movies and stuff have really, like, made
yes.
people think that it's so much scarier or harder, and
Oh,
it's just
God.
not really like that, not in my experiences, at least.
No, I'd say honestly, like 5% of the time, it's like, oh, this is horror
Yeah,
movie scary, like
right.
that kind of ghost. But overall, yes, it's just people that are kind of
They just
just
wanna
like
be
us, lost their way.
acknowledged. Yeah.
Or they
Mhm.
want to be seen.
Yeah.
I just wanna know, like, a lot of indigenous spirits come through for me,
Yeah.
especially ones that their land was colonized
Yeah.
and they are so connected to their land and this being their
Yeah.
home that they don't wanna leave it, or
Mhm.
they feel even the need to look after the individuals that actually live on that land now. So it's, when you look at it that way too, you can have a lot of compassion.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. I love that. They must know that you are a healer and can help in that
Yeah.
way. So I love that they show up for you.
So, I guess take us back through kind of like you went through your Saturn return and
Yes.
then you're going into your 30s. Like take us there.
Yes. So, went through my Saturn return, went all in on self-help development. Like I said, got my life coaching certification, was really into Buddhist practice. At the time, I was working for a law firm as an executive assistant. It was just kind of something to do that
Mhm.
covered my expenses, and I was still living in Philly at the time. And then I was in that window where I was like, I wonder if I could do this full time. I wonder if I could be a coach and start to bring in more meditation. I was still a little nervous of bringing in like tarot and astrology. There was definitely still that part of me that was worried about being judged
Yeah.
and what will they take me seriously? I was nervous about it sounds funny to say now because now I'm like, I don't care. I'm
Uh-huh.
42 next. And but I was like, I don't want to be presented as like a boardwalk psychic
Yeah,
kind of. So
totally.
there was that hesitation around, can I really move this forward and can I move it forward confidently? And I was going back and forth. And then my job at the time, the partner I worked for, she was being transferred to their Manhattan office. And she was like, Danielle, I want you to come with me.
Wow.
Yes. And so I was like, I feel like I need to go to New York City. And this
Mhm.
is such a rare opportunity for an assistant to have like a paid
Totally.
move and transfer to live in Manhattan. So I went for it and it was the best decision I ever made because being in New York, I got exposed to so many teachers, so many
Mhm.
different practices. I found at the time Kundalini yoga, so I went through that phase of things. I found more than anything, I found community, and I found individuals that were entrepreneurs and wanted to talk about astrology and breath work and just all these different things. And when I was still playing around though in the back of my mind of like, okay, I'm grateful I have this job. This is what brought me to New York. I've been here a little bit now, still thinking exit strategy.
Mhm.
And that's when I really started to hone in on the astrology piece and really started to lead with that because I knew that that was the thing at that time. And this was around like, in the 2013, 2014 timeframe where it was still in a way like innovative and new and not as many people were using it. And so I
Mhm.
was like, I clearly know this. I've been studying it since I was 4, likely in
Yeah.
past iterations of myself.
Totally.
So let's freaking do this. And while I was in that, I was also um taking like this master class with Gabby Bernstein, and she
Oh,
approached
cool.
me. Yeah, it was interesting because Gabby has a lot of fans and a lot of people that really look up to her. And not that
Right.
I looked up to her in the space of like, I love this audience. I love what you're doing. I love what you're cultivating. I love how you're waking people up.
Mhm.
And it was funny. I remember one time there was like a oh, I actually was sitting next to her in yoga class one time. And she goes, I've seen you at my events. And I go, yes, really enjoy them. And she goes, how come you never want to take a photo with me? And I was by the way, she's Scorpio. And I was like, What do you mean?" She's like, "Everyone always wants a photo with me and you never do." And I was like, "Well, that's not why I'm there." And I think that, like,
Amazing.
initiated something in her because then since that moment
Wow.
when I would see her, she would be like so basically she was like, "Dan, I want you to work for me. I want you to be like, I know you
What?
do like," she's like, "I looked you up. I know you're doing the coaching.
Wow.
I want you to join my team." So I was like,
Wow.
"Okay.
What's
I will do
her
That's
this."
your
sign?
sign.
Yeah, she's Scorpio. I
That was
she yeah,
that
she's
feels so
Scorpio.
Scorpio.
I know, and I know she's married to a Sag. She didn't like astrology because she
Mhm.
didn't want anything other than her to dictate fate and
Mhm.
her future, and she felt that astrology would meddle with that. So,
Interesting. So
yes.
cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
so all that to say though, it was such a great, opportunity for me to bridge out of corporate life and into, that world, and I think I was 31 at that time, and
What was her master class?
so it was called Spirit Chunky Masterclass, and it was like a program in New York City in person for individuals that wanted to do any kind of spiritual work in the world, but didn't really know how to get started or didn't
Oh,
Mhm.
know
okay.
how to do the business side of things. Because that,
Mhm.
like, once again, we weren't really taught like, oh, here's how you run a spiritually based
Right.
business, or here's how you're an entrepreneur. That
No real
stuff
rule
just
book. Especially
no.
then. Like,
Mhm.
it's a little easier now, I think, but
Yes,
yeah.
there's so many more programs and
Mhm.
platforms for it. Again, a little bit overwhelming, but
Yeah.
it's there in a way that it wasn't at that time. And even what
Yeah.
she was doing was so unique. And so that was the framework of the masterclass. And then in a beautiful way, I kind of started to feel ready to go out on my own, but then her asking me to join her team was just kind of that extra like, okay, let's do this. And what was great was I got to travel with her, go to her retreats. I would teach yoga at them. I would be on site for if anyone needed coaching or needed
Wow.
support during certain events or retreats and things of that nature. And I did it for 2.5 years, 3 years, I want to say, give or take. And then it just
Wow.
felt like, okay, I need to go off on
It's
my
time.
own and
It
it's
kind of
time.
feels like this, like, you're getting into the canon moment, like, before
Mhm.
you really can, like, shoot off and do your own thing, but it's like, okay, this is kinda warm, like, womb, a little bit more security. She's got a big following and doing things, and also probably a great learning opportunity for you as well, I'm sure.
Exactly, and I
And
met so many
validation.
people.
Yeah,
Yes,
so validating.
it really was. It was humbling and validating, and I met so many people that were her peers, so many people that were just in attendance, and to your point, I learned a lot. It gave me more confidence of what I was
Yeah,
capable of, so,
so
yeah.
cool. Your Leo could not hide herself. Gabby Bearstein's coming to
I
you.
give me her Scorpio came
I
out and was
know.
like, "Give me that." And I was like, "Okay,
That's
sure."
so funny.
Yes, that's how my Leo operates in that way very much so. And I know
Yeah.
I'm a manifesting generator, and I think this is a
Oh,
part
yeah.
of the way that it's wired is that I am meant to, not like a projector has to be invited, but there is
Mhm.
something about I need to be seen and recognized to then
Yeah.
be like ushered forward.
Yeah, that makes so much sense for
And
sure.
so that I started to, when I look back on my journey, I was like, there's so many moments where people just kind of came out of nowhere to be like, "Hey,
Yeah,
we want you in this or we want you in that,"
I
without
love
any
that.
like,
Yeah, I
yes,
resonate
real
with that.
context. So that was incredible. And then I went off on my own in 2017, officially, and just started and continued to travel, speak, do events, astrology, yoga, just really any opportunity that I could to share this way forward. And I'm very much I feel like my interest in astrology and metaphysics is really connected to the Aquarian Age. And so anything that I
Yeah.
can do to kind of help move that forward is really big for me.
Yeah, I love that. We're in it.
We are in
And
it. So yeah,
yeah.
should I explain it for anyone that doesn't
Oh,
know?
Yeah,
please,
yeah,
yes.
please. Thank
Okay.
you.
So basically the reason why in spirituality there's this term new age. Back in the 60s, 70s, there were these individuals called the New Agers. They were called the New Agers because they were preparing us for what would be known as the Age of Aquarius. Around the time that Jesus was born, our buddy from our church, JC, as we call him,
You're so
uh,
funny.
when
Homie
JC,
JC.
yeah, on our homeboy. I mean, come on. I mean, I will say, like, if I saw like a Jesus archetype right now, like, I would swipe right on the app. I'd be like,
Yes.
all right, bro. He'd either be like a tech bro or just like off doing some kind of
I always say
ayahuasca.
if Jesus was around now, they would throw him in a psych ward. They'd be like, "All right, buddy, that's enough blabbering. Go in the
Yes.
padded room."
Probably more reason for me to grow an attraction to him. You're crazy.
And that's my type.
Even better. Even better. Misunderstood. Oh, yes. Yes,
Obsessed.
please, JC. So for context, when Jesus came into the world, that was considered 1 AD, if you will. And that kicked off what was known as the age of Pisces. So in astrology, we have what's called
Mm.
the ages. There are about 2000 years, they work in retrograde. So the age of Pisces kicked off with Jesus. The theme around that was the teacher is outside of you. Uh, Learn to embrace from others how to connect with your God. Because prior to Jesus coming in, there was a lot of chaos, a lot of distortion. We were in the age of Aries. There was a lot of war. People didn't know how to get things going. They needed a leader. They needed someone to come in and be like, hey, here's the way. Hey, here's how to connect
Mm.
to God. I mean, even Jesus is the son of God. The sun is such a big theme in astrology. So that
Mhm.
pathway created this era of look to find the teacher so that then you can go within. But as things do, it got a little bit out of hand. And
Yeah.
Catholic Church was formed, cults, even in our political system, we started to
Mhm.
see, okay, there's dictatorship. We're leaning too heavy on
Mhm.
outside support. So what we need to do is we need to reel it back. So the New Agers knew this. They said, okay, in 2012, we'll be preparing for the Age of Aquarius. So we will be the New Agers to help bring the technology forward to help people realize that they are, in fact, the guru. We've learned enough from the teachers to now use that wisdom for our own self. And so astrology coming more online, even in the song Age of Aquarius, crystal
Mhm.
technology, all of that. I mean, I'm freaking holding a crystal right now.
Cute.
Um,
Yes.
all of these beautiful tools were starting to come forward more, yoga, to help us understand that we can come into our own self within our body, and then when we do that, then we can connect to the God. We don't need
Yeah.
that outside influence per se. It can be helpful, but
Mhm.
that person is not we're not putting anybody up on a pedestal. And so basically
Mhm.
the Aquarian Age is about that, and Aquarian Age very much dictated that it would be technology and different things that are literally coming online right now to help move us forward. And I feel like that's why we're seeing such an influx in spirituality right now
And
as a
that
public.
started when?
Technically, we don't know for sure, but allegedly 2012 is the
Okay.
belief. Yes. And
coincidence of the Mayan calendar and how the world was gonna end.
exactly. All of these systems, when you really look under the
Yeah,
hood, you're like, they all were looking at the same patterns. That's
yeah,
all this is. It's just pattern recognition
yeah,
and different
totally.
interpretations. And what's interesting for many of us, if you were born before 2012, you were born in the age of Pisces, but you're in the transitioning of the age of Aquarius, which is an interesting
Yeah.
position to be in.
That's so fascinating, I never knew all of that. I love
It's my
that.
fave. It's my fave topic.
So yeah, so what does the age of Aquarius mean for us? What, obviously the new technologies and, all that you were mentioning
Yeah.
about connection to self and being the guru, but what else can
Mhm.
we expect or help? How can we actively help nurture the age of Aquarius?
Yes. The biggest thing is not falling prey to the systems now being our teachers. For example, our addiction, watching out for the addiction to the technology, addiction to the
Mm-hmm.
source that is actually helping you become your own self. Because the worry is the shadow side of the Aquarian age is now you're becoming so wrapped up in your ego, so wrapped
Mm-hmm.
up in self help that you're not actually reflecting it back. And so
Mm-hmm.
the harmonics of the Aquarian age are bringing us together as one and love being the ultimate technology. However, what we're seeing right now, we're going to be seeing for a minute is the destruction
Yeah.
of so much. And so all these systems are falling apart because we're realizing the systems weren't created to hold us in this current era that we're living in. Maybe
Yeah.
they did. I don't know. I wasn't there when the Declaration of Independence was signed. Maybe that
Right.
was a vibe. I'm not sure. But what I know,
It's
what I
not
know
working no
now,
more.
I don't know.
I'm
But what I
sick
know
of the
now,
Constitution.
yeah, I mean, maybe I don't know, maybe I was there for all I know, but
Right.
what's
She
interesting is
actually
we're
signed
hitting.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I was Thomas
Yeah.
Jefferson, and that's why I'm like, "It wasn't so bad.
I believe it.
Independence, come on." I
I
don't know.
do see kind of already the extreme everybody diving into the self-help and
Yeah,
almost isolating themselves,
yes,
and now people starting to come out of it. Like, I do think we're already seeing a little bit of going too hard, pulling back a little, coming back to community. And I know
Yeah.
COVID had a lot to
exactly.
do with that because we were by ourselves, and but I think that's changing already just
I
from we are chatting
agree.
with people.
Definitely.
Yes,
Mhm.
and finding that healthy balance because the earth needs us too. The earth doesn't
Mhm.
so as much as there's this technology, which in some ways is harming our environment, it can also help our environment. It's a double-edged sword because
Mhm.
the reason you and I are having this conversation
Right.
right now is because
Mhm.
of technology. And yet at the same time, what does it look like to be able to unplug and go for a walk, to put your
Yeah.
hands in the soil, to
Mhm.
make more space for phone-free zones, to
Yes.
give back into the earth in those ways also is really important. So we're in this interesting time where transition is just really the theme in so many ways. We're also learning like the reality is technology isn't going anywhere. AI is going to be a part of it. So how do we still have our own autonomy, but also have a relationship with it? And in a
Mhm.
way that feels somewhat healthy in one way or another, especially for future generations. And I
Mhm.
wouldn't be surprised if future generations are more anti it. I mean, I heard people are going back to like flip phones and they're not as
Yeah.
invested in it. So
Mhm.
we'll see what happens in that context. But from the astrological perspective, a lot of what happened when, especially in the United States, we're going to be hitting our 250th birthday this July.
This summer. Mhm.
Yeah, so that's gonna be happening, and when that's happening, a lot of the transits that were present when we signed that freaking thing, when we had our origin date, are back online right
Yeah,
now,
it's
and I
so
see that
crazy.
as a reset, not a repeat, and we have to
Mhm.
be discerning of that.
Yeah, it's so
Also,
interesting.
Aquarius is correct me if I'm wrong, but that's also is kind of community and standing up for things that are wrong
Activists.
and yeah, activists, protesting, all of these things that we are seeing a lot of too.
Mhm.
Exactly. So we're going to see
Mhm.
that more. I would like to see more balance with it. So it feels one thing that's a little tricky with this also, it's like there's the humanitarian piece and the activist piece, which is so important, but also making sure that people have a right to choose what they actually want to respond to, and
Yeah.
making sure that people are making their own decisions, because a lot of people are feeling like the online space is becoming this territory where it's like, you have to believe this, you have
Right.
to stand against this. And it's like, well, that's not the way either. It's like, how do
Yeah.
we approach this? And like, this isn't right and this
Yeah.
isn't okay, but doing it in a way that doesn't uh, trigger people's nervous systems, because we're seeing a lot of that too.
Yeah.
Well, the internet's very attacking, and if
Yeah,
you were to sit face to face and have these conversations with someone, you first of all wouldn't speak the same way you do online,
so
and you
true.
would probably understand each other more and have more in common with someone you don't think you do just by like sitting in a space with them.
That's so true. So I'd love to see more of that, more
Mhm.
of stand very firm in your beliefs, because that's so important right now. And what does it look like to see each other? Because that is going to be more of the framework going forward to at
Yeah.
least unlock more of the Aquarian age as well.
So about like astrology, I've been trying to explain to my husband like it's you would like it. It's kind of like history, you know? It's just
It
like
is.
patterns
Yeah.
and stuff. So can you explain astrology to people in a way that it's not just this like woo-woo thing that's just kind of made up, and how it is like pattern recognition through history and just seeing like behaviors and recognizing those?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's exactly what it is. It's pattern recognition, and it dates all the way back thousands of years. And that astrology, if we're following the Western astrology route, which is the tropical, I follow that lineage more because we are in a more Western society, so it makes
Mhm.
sense to use the astrology of such. But if we go back to like Babylonians and the Egyptians, they were using what's called Hellenistic
Okay.
astrology. And what they started to notice, they didn't work with all the planets. They worked with 7 planets. So basically the ones that were visible in the sky, the sun all the way through, well, I'll just list them. Sun, moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Saturn, and then sometimes Jupiter as well. Jupiter didn't always show up. So they would work with these planets and they started to track them. And they noticed when the planets were positioned in these ways, this would be the response that would happen. And so
Mhm.
that's how it started. It started in this just very systematic way. Then over the years, more modernized Western astrology came in, and it took that science, or that system, if you will. And it said, okay, when the planets do this up in the sky, this is how we react. Let's take it further. Let's create a 12 piece system that also connects to the human psyche, because we all know that we're all different. We're all the same as well. So the
Mhm.
zodiac wheel was created. And in this zodiac wheel, 12 archetypes were created. These archetypes all deal with different personas of being a human. And then within that, they're like, well, let's take it even further. What are the things that humans do in this life? And these themes were created known as houses, such as health, love, money, all of that. So basically, astrology is a system of looking at what the planets are doing. Then, based on how those planets relate to the zodiac wheel, how that then is going to affect your persona, your personality. And then further, how's that going to affect an actual physical area of your life? Like your job, like your family, like where you're living, things of that nature. So it became the systematic approach to navigating life through what's going on via the sky, but also as a way for us to connect with each other and to be able to see each other in different ways based on this as well.
So cool.
Chills.
Amazing.
And then to your point with the history, we can go back and we can say, okay, yes, this is what the planets were doing on this day or in this year. Based on that, this is what we can look for. And we can do it in our own life too. I mean,
Mhm.
like for Saturn return, for example, that happened to me in my mid 20s. It's going to happen to me again in my 60s. So I can be
Mhm.
like, okay, what were some things that came up for me in my Saturn return? Now, clearly, it'll be a little bit different when I'm in my 60s, but I can remember those themes and know that might come back around again. So that's
Mhm.
awareness. And that's the beautiful part of astrology too, is that piece of it.
So, I mean, we've talked about this a lot, but like the transits that are happening now and this year, and their history. Can you talk a little bit about what we're going through now?
Yes, 2026 is a really unique year because the planets are repeating a lot of what happened in the 17 and 1800s. And in addition, they're also happening in earlier signs. We're also in a 1 year in numerology. So
Mhm.
2026 adds up to 1. So, and we're in the Chinese zodiac, we're in the fire horse. So there's
So
all of
much.
these things, right? There's all these things like you're in a 1 year fresh start. But then at the same time, you got the fire horse, which is like go, go, go. And then we have all of these transits that are happening that occurred before. So what Pluto is doing, Pluto's in Aquarius for the first time since the 1770s. Pluto is our planet of generational change. It takes around 240 to 250 years for it to come back into the sign that it was in. The fact that Pluto is in Aquarius, and this happened last year, for the real first iteration of the Aquarian Age, Pluto's going to play a big part in how we shape things forward. Again, if we go back to when this country was started, it was started because they, after colonizing it and stealing it, they knew there
Mhm.
needed to be change. So they created that change. And I feel like with Pluto and Aquarius, again, there's going to be this energy of change, and it's with us until 2044. So this theme of progressing forward, making things better is going to be upon us. Also, we have Neptune in Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Neptune is our planet of illusion, of our daydreams. The last time that this came around was a little over, so this was like the late 1800s, when we were kind of in a space of like dream bigger. This was like Titanic times, where it
Wow.
was like, go for it. But the cautionary tale in so much of what happened during that era was like, dream big, but be practical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Watch out for the icebergs.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that we actually have some kind of grounding, some kind of foundation. So I do think Neptune is going to be asking us to dream bigger, asking us to go for the things. And I feel like we do have more permission for that.
Mhm.
And you still have to be responsible to show up in this 3D reality as we know it. And so
Yeah.
it's finding that sweet spot of what does it mean to be human, and also what does it mean to be a visionary. So we're seeing that trend happen. And then another big one people are talking about is going to happen next month is Uranus moving into Gemini. And the last
Oh.
time we had that, there was the Civil War.
Mhm.
So then again, that doesn't mean though that now we're going to have a civil war, but it does
No,
mean that
but
those
something's a
energetics.
brewing.
Exactly. It doesn't feel that
Something
off
sketchy.
per se.
Yeah.
However, it still kind of is the way I like to look at it is like I said, it's not repeating history, it's resetting it. And maybe
I
there
like
is
that.
going to be those dynamics at play,
Well,
but it
just
doesn't have
you
to
saying that kind of makes me feel like I like you saying reset almost feels like so like the opposite of a civil war, and it's like our president has taken us toward these other countries, and now maybe as a country we all have to come together to like fight the systems so that
yes.
we don't all die.
That's what I see more so than like a
Mhm.
yes. I don't think we're gonna have a North versus South
Right.
No.
Or
situation,
like
or
Republican versus Democrat or whatever.
which I mean, we're seeing it, but I don't know if we're gonna have that literal divide. I mean, I don't know how quickly these things can happen or not
Right.
happen, but I wouldn't be surprised by the time Pluto leaves Aquarius if we have a new political system.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm
That
down.
the idea of there's just two parties,
It's not
I
working.
don't know if that's gonna last
How
that
long
much longer.
will Gemini be in wait, what did you say?
Uranus.
Uranus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gemini will be in Uranus until August. Mama, August of 2032. So we have
Okay.
that. Yeah. So that's entering April 25th. So we'll have it for about 6 years, give or
That
take.
sounds
Neptune in
so long
Aries,
away, but it's literally in 6 years.
it's 6 years. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, 6 years
it
ago, we were, all getting locked in our homes, which also
Yeah.
yes,
feels like yesterday and forever
yes,
ago
Yeah.
too.
yeah,
6 years
yeah,
goes by really fast.
Yeah.
it does. I'm going to be thinking of you both when Uranus moves into Cancer.
Please do.
It's actually going to be right before my birthday. So we love that. Uh, and then Neptune and Aries are hanging out together till May of 2038.
Okay.
So I'm really excited about, especially because right now too, we also have Saturn in Aries.
Saturn and Aries.
Saturn and Aries will just be here for 2 more years. But I think that combination of Saturn and Neptune, some people are fearing it, but I think it's giving us the structure.
Right.
Saturn's coming in being like, hey, yes, we want you to dream, but you gotta have a little bit of a protocol here, a little bit
Mhm.
of regimen to see this through.
Yeah, strong scaffolding is the thing I just keep
Yes.
thinking about with that.
Yeah, but really besides Pluto, and Aquarius together, a lot of the planets are just hanging out in the earlier signs. And so I also feel like that's part of, us in this reformation reset as opposed
Mhm.
to we were like COVID and though that era, we were coming off a lot of the later signs, and I think that was just
Mm.
pretty harsh. And
Yeah.
of this year, spring equinox, so there was a Mercury retrograde that was happening in Pisces.
Mhm.
Pisces is our last sign of the zodiac, having a Mercury retrograde in it, having an eclipse season in it,
Mhm.
being in the end of winter, the fact that spring equinox is always the first day of Aries, always the first day of the astrological calendar. So spring kicks
Mhm.
off the astrological new year, and then Mercury goes direct on the spring equinox. I really feel like this is the moment to move forward. So if anyone's been
Yeah.
feeling like stuck or confused or stalling and or unmotivated and not sure why, it could be part of this energetics. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't force yourself.
Mhm.
Realize that spring really is symbolic and kind of doing its thing of like, yes, here's the rebirth, here's the momentum, here's the movement forward.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love that, and thinking about that with all the outer planets being in the earlier energy too,
Mhm.
like, it is so much fresh energy, fresh start, and also with that, it's like a lot of infancy energy too that we're
Yeah.
just starting to get acquainted with what that energy feels like. So it's like we're
Exactly.
making new friends with all these planets and
Mm,
signs,
yeah.
and you got to get to
And
know
ourselves.
in ourselves. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to get to know the
Totally.
energy for a
Totally.
little bit before we
Yeah, we
really
do.
can label what it's doing for us too.
Exactly. Just like you would do with an actual newborn. You wouldn't have it all
Right.
figured out in the
Right.
first 3 months.
No, yeah, so being patient on ourselves and collectively,
It's a
which is
lot.
hard because there's a
It
lot
is a
of
lot.
It's all a lot.
intense
It's
energy too out there
I
in the
know,
world.
I know, because
Yeah.
we have 2 lanes happening right now. There is the how willing are you to release the discomfort of what it means to be you? And then
Mm.
also, how willing are you to do that in a world that feels really uncomfortable right now?
Mhm.
I
Like
mean,
a
I'm a
confrontation.
Scorpio, so I'm always
Mhm.
like, let's just set it on fire, burn into the ground, and then start over. We should tell you our
I was
big
gonna say
three.
you're
Yeah, so I was
also
gonna say,
a
tell me
triple threat
more.
in a way.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Alright.
I'm Taylor. Mine is a Scorpio sun, Cancer moon, Pisces rising.
Wow, so triple
Yeah.
feminine,
Yes, lots of
triple
water. I
water.
don't have any fire in my chart. And
Mm.
then
Yeah, I'm a Libra sun, Sagittarius moon, and Virgo rising.
Ooh, so you've got a nice little, like, buffet.
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah, I love that. Absolutely.
I
Yeah,
thought
my whole
yeah,
chart is very balanced in energy. I have
okay.
a little bit of
Yes,
everything. Yeah.
I love that.
Not mine at all.
Okay. Okay, interesting. But that works well for the 2 of you to be able to
It
do
does.
Mhm.
this
Mhm.
because it
Yeah, and
it
our
does feel like
risings are opposite of each other too, so we're
mhm.
really good, yeah, duo. Great
Yeah,
puzzle
I
pieces.
call
complement.
her like my container. Like there's so much water that I don't really have like anything to hold it all in. So she's like my little
Mhm.
container.
It shows up a
Aw.
lot in our work too for all
Mhm.
of our admin-y things of where we play and the structures that get created. Although you've been on top
Mhm.
of it with structures. I'm pretty impressed
Mhm.
with you.
Well, thanks.
Nice.
You're doing it.
Nice. Well, I feel like
Um.
the Jupiter in Cancer right now, that probably helps
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
keep it streamlined
Um.
for you.
So you also do astrocartography.
Yes.
Can you tell us what that
Mhm.
is?
I
You're
think
the
this is
first
Yes,
the coolest
yes.
thing.
yeah, you're the first
It's
person we've
so much fun.
had that does that.
Yes, and it's fitting that I do given I travel so much and I'm always bopping around
Right.
from home to home. So, astrocartography was created in the 1980s. So, it's technically a newer technology in the astrology field by a guy named Jim Lewis. And essentially, he took your birth chart and turned it into what is known as locational astrology. So, it's taking your birth chart, that screenshot of the moment you took your first breath, and then essentially placing it over a two-dimensional map. When you do that, what happens is you're able to pinpoint the exact location of where the planet would land at the moment that you took your first breath. Then based on that, And those are known as the zenith points. So a zenith point is where the most planetary energy might land on that area of the map. So you look on your map and you say, okay, Jupiter is in, the middle of Madagascar. Okay, that's my zenith point. That's where Jupiter lives per se. Then based on that, because you can't get to all the locations sometimes. Sometimes it might be in the ocean, sometimes it might be in Russia, it
Mm-hmm.
just might be in areas that you're just not getting to in this life, as we know currently.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is there's like a tracking device, and so then there's a ley line system that's created, and lines come out of the zenith point and start to wrap around the world. And it'll happen in two ways. The lines will be up and down. And when you see an up and down line, that means the area is probably more familiar, maybe a past life, just something about the energy speaks to you. Might be like one of those places where you go and it's your first day there and people are asking you for directions. And you're like, look at me. Uh, and then curved lines are like a learning curve, like places that you're meant to grow and stretch and maybe be challenged from. And then in addition to that, we also look at the four angles. The four angles are basically related to the houses. First house,
Mm.
which is self, fourth house, which is home, family, seventh house, which is relationships, and 10th house, which is career, your midheaven. So basically, based when you look at this map, and I recommend astro.com as like a
Mm-hmm.
free resource. It can be a little bit confusing at first, so just take your time with it. But when you open up your map, you're going to see the zenith points that are going to look like little circles. Those are your planets. And then you're going to see the lines kind of coming through. And then at the top of the map, you'll see the planet symbol, and then you'll see what house it is. And that gives you intel into what is going on. So, for example, I live in Austin. It's my moon line. So the moon line runs right through Austin. It's also my ascendant, my first house. So so basically for me, I show up here as a Leo moon, but there's also an emphasis on my Leo rising. So I have to kind of put my Leo sun to the side a little bit. And I have been more humble here. I have gone through
Wow.
some more emotional experiences. I've definitely been more vulnerable living
Something
here in
about
how I'm showing.
Austin is the energy that I've experienced is so crazy.
Mhm.
I was there last weekend and I go for a work thing, and every time I'm on the property on like that land, I am like all my psychic like things are
It's a
turned the
vortex.
fuck on, and I'm like seeing stuff and saying crazy shit, and it's like
Mhm.
the energy is wild to me. And that's crazy that you said you live in Austin, because the whole time you've been talking, I've been able to see this like white light glow around you that I only see when I'm in
Oh my
Austin.
God, chills.
And so
Mhm.
it makes sense that's where you're
I
at.
I
wonder
love
what's in Austin for you
Yeah,
on your
what's my thing
astrocartography.
say?
yes, we need to see, and I will say Austin is definitely a vortex. It's a place. I came here in 2021 thinking I was gonna move here. Didn't happen. Then I came back in 2023, didn't happen, and then last year, actually on the spring equinox, I moved here
Oh,
officially. It
wow.
was like
Happy anniversary.
thank you. Thank you. Yay. Uh, and I feel I knew it was going to be a lot. And so I feel like
Right.
that was like my back and forth with it. But the astrocartography helped me understand that with knowing that I was going to
Mm-hmm.
be on my moon, and our moon is more our emotions, our subconscious, who we are behind closed doors. And more of that was being exposed with it being connected to my rising than maybe what I would like, which is more of my
Mm-hmm.
sun being exposed.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives us context to that. Living on your sun line is really great because it the sun is how you express yourself, but it's also like, you want to be somewhere where it's nice, where the sun is out. What kind of life are you living during the day? Well,
Mm-hmm.
sunline is great to just live your day-to-day life. So you can just
Mm.
start piecing things
Fun.
together,
Cute.
and it's really fun in that way. You can connect it to other people. Like I know, like I have stories of clients that uh she met her husband where they currently live, but when she looked at her map, he was born on her Venus line. So
Cute.
Oh.
her Venus line came to her. Stories like that, which is just really fun. Or like if you're thinking about like, where do I want to go on vacation? Where do we want
Mm-hmm.
to take our honeymoon? Where's a good place to raise a family? Like it all can lead to these really cool clues.
I have a question. What's like the radius of like the line that you want to like
Great.
be around?
Great question. So the zenith point is good for up to like 300 miles, just within the circumference of the zenith point. But then with the actual line, it's preferable to be west of the line if possible,
Mm.
and within 150 miles.
Cool.
Crazy.
And
I
why
need to write
west
that
is
down.
because the sun sets in the west, so that means you're gonna be more grounded as opposed
Okay.
to
I like that.
rising. So yes, 150, I mean, we can stretch it a little bit if we need to, but that's yes, you don't have to be right on the line, and there's also more advanced techniques as well. You can work with what's called parens, which are these like invisible intersects that you can find on the map. I can do like past life tracking on it. I
Cool.
can also look at the aspects, like you can see where lines might be conjunct or opposing or
Mm,
square. Those are
mhm.
more advanced ways to approach it.
It would
I
be
want to do
interesting to,
this.
like, do it with your partner, like, if you were, like, wanting to adventure somewhere else or live somewhere
Mhm.
else, and, like, what would you be looking for since it is literally 2 different maps,
Yes.
how would you determine where would be, like, a good place for them to settle together?
Yeah. Yeah, you have to do a lot of a lot of research, a lot of digging. It's fun
Yeah.
though because I get to kinda nerd out on it, but what I would say is usually you wanna look at what their both of their goals are. Is it to start a family? Is it to start
Mhm,
fresh? Are they entrepreneurs and they're just looking for a place that would be convenient? A lot
mhm.
of times too, people will give me places that they have in
Okay.
mind, so that
Yep.
usually helps, but I love when they don't have to both be on the same line. Like, you don't have to
Mhm.
just both be on your sun line. If it works out that way, cool, but maybe it's, the masculine partner is on the sun, so they're like more of the provider energy, and then
Mhm.
the more feminine partner is on the moon, and so it's their
Cute.
moon, their sun, and the sun and moon come together, and then you're complementing each other in
I
that
love
way.
that.
It could be also Venus and Mars, that
Mhm.
could be
Oh, okay.
compatible as
Fun.
well. Another way to look at it is it could be sometimes some people don't have lines at all. So there could be an area
Oh,
where I call that neutral territory. So there's no planetary influence. And so you're going to be leaning more so on your environment and you're going to be leaning on your partner because your
yeah.
partner's going to be picking up on something. So let's say
Yeah.
it's your partner's Jupiter line. Jupiter's about expansion
Mhm.
and prosperity. Well, maybe you're both are looking for a place to start a business together. Okay, you don't have any planetary line, but your partner has Jupiter. So now that could work.
Cool.
That's
I
what I
love
look
that.
at
That would be so
it.
fun to look at. I've
It's
moved
really
around my whole life too, so I'm like I know I'm here for a while. I have a business here that's established and things, but I know that I'm always down for an adventure too, and it would be interesting. I have looked at my chart. I don't really understand how to read it fully. I had a friend who was starting to dig into it and had kind of told me about it, and
Mhm.
she kind of looked at mine and I remember my Saturn is right where I live currently, and I think my IC, like, the line runs through where I live currently too. Um,
Mhm.
and I just think it's interesting, like, knowing about Saturn, and I feel like, I've been here for 4 years now and kinda seeing how that has probably played out for me in a lot of ways. So it's just
Mhm.
interesting. I don't know, what would you say about that?
Yes, Saturn I see is interesting because Saturn is a tricky line to live on
Mhm.
because Saturn is about rules and following order, and it's also about family karma and releasing things on behalf of your lineage. And so
It's
the Saturn
happening.
line can challenge you. It's going to present you with opportunities. It's going to ask you to grow, but it's also going to ask you to stay in line. So there's this weird like back and forth. And then with you having the IC, which is, for those who don't know, the fourth house, home and family, there's this feeling of really needing to connect to the lineage and do the work that is necessary on behalf of such. And then further, making sure that you're finding a way to truly anchor to honor your needs. What does home mean for you in this
Mhm.
iteration of yourself, of your life, of how you're moving forward? And how are you reclaiming it and taking ownership of it in a way that is more future focused as opposed to the ways that your past generations have done it?
Yeah, that checks.
That's wild.
That's so crazy. Yeah, it's
That's
really
how
cool
it
because I didn't know that before I moved here, and my friend had also moved to Oregon, and
Yes.
she's like we would always talk about how, like, Oregon's very deeply healing, transformative energy on the land here, like, where you just go
Mhm.
through, like, the deep underground healing transformation
Mhm.
energy, and it's
Mhm.
been, like, the most beautiful, fulfilling time of my life and also some of the most challenging, like, times in my adult life too, like, so much trust and surrender, and like, my
Mhm.
husband's really been on a roller coaster himself, like, since we moved out here where I was like, I've moved around so much that I'm like, oh, like you just get to kind of become more deeply you. And like all these, like I had so much
Forward.
optimism and it was his first time and it's been
Wow.
challenging for him. And
Yeah.
our Saturns are the same exact point and same exact degree. We're 6 months apart and it was retrograde
Whoa.
when he was born and forward moving when I was born. So I feel like
Whoa.
there's a lot of like Saturn
There's
karma for
so
us.
much there.
So
Wow, I've never
it's
heard of that
wild.
before. That's
Yeah, same
wild. So
degree,
definitely
same sign. Crazy.
wow. So yeah, definitely you were like, let's clear some karma in this life.
Yeah, and we both like there's been so much like family like for both of us stuff that's getting worked through or clearing like
Mhm.
boundaries and yeah, just how we show up in our traditional families and deciding if we want to create a family and like so
Yeah.
much has
Yeah.
come online since we moved here. It's crazy.
Wow. Wow. And do you know what line this is for him?
No,
So
I haven't looked at his. It would be
okay.
interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to book
Yeah.
something with you and we can
Yes.
dig
Yes.
into
We
that
can
because
nerd
that
out.
would be so cool.
What
Yeah.
website
And
did
I
you say for people to use?
So go astro.com. So
Okay.
astro.com, they have free resources. And then on my website, I have a free guide to navigating astro.com. So
Oh,
it's
Oh,
just like
cool.
cool.
a PDF guide that just helps you get started. It gets you a little
Awesome.
bit more in the door so it doesn't feel so overwhelming when you
Yeah.
first open it
It's
because it
so
it can be
fascinating.
really confusing. Yes. But yes, I love it. It's so much fun and I use it in so many ways. It's kind
I
of wild.
love
Mm.
it. So
Mhm.
speaking of working with you and stuff, what does that look like if someone wanted to, yeah, work with you in any capacity? What do you offer? What do you do?
So I have one-on-one services, astrocartography being one of them, and then I do astrology sessions as well, where we move through your birth chart. And my astrology sessions are a little bit more intuitive than your traditional astrologer. We can
Hmm.
do the more like if you're looking for like you want like someone super technical and like really in the nitty-gritty of your chart and the astrological components, I might not be your person. But for me, it's about an experience of let's open up your chart together, let's embody it, let's flow, let's
I
see
I
love
what's
can
that.
coming up.
already feel that from
Mhm.
you just as you talk about stuff. I feel like you're pretty much like you're almost like channeling what you're saying instead of just spouting off like facts from a book.
Yeah, I love that.
Yes, thank you, I received that, and that I do feel like astrology is my way in the door to channel because it's like as soon as I see someone's chart, it's like that turns it on for me,
I
and then
love
it's
it.
like I get all the information, the guides start coming in, it's like that's the party starter, which I love because it also creates a boundary for me, as like, okay, I'm not people usually aren't walking around being like, "Here's my chart," although that'd be a cool
Hmm.
vibe. Get pulled over. It's like the ID and registration. I'm like, Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising.
Maybe that's
Yeah,
some future technology
Yeah.
for us.
great. So yeah, Social Security. What? I don't know what that means. But yeah. So I love that uh, interface of being able to open up someone's chart and really be able to enter their container, their world, their energy, and go from there. So that's essentially what typically tends to happen in a session, and then you can always keep going on the journey with me with that. And then in addition to astrology, I also do home energetics as well. So
Mm,
because I travel so much and because I've stayed in so many different homes, I've learned a lot along the way around feng shui and home clearing
cute.
and making your space your own, not just from the space of let's clear out the bad stuff, but let's also make sure that our home is a true reflection of who we are and our goals and our intentions. There's a reason why it's called
Mm,
household because it's meant to hold you.
that's
So if
good.
that's
Cute.
the case, how do you align yourself with your home space and vice versa to move that forward? And so I work with people either virtually or here in Austin on helping them with their home spaces.
I
Cool.
love that. That's a fun
Yeah.
offering.
I want
Mhm.
to do
It
that.
is, yes. That happened actually when I moved here to Austin because I had kind of a crazy move. Being on my moon line, it really showed me more than ever how important home is.
Yeah,
And I wanted, because again, I can't just be linear. I wanted to teach it outside of just like a feng shui or like sage your
totally.
house kind of thing.
Totally.
And more so like, what does it mean to have a relationship with your house? And how do we move that forward. So it's
That's
this is
gotta
probably a
be.
newer practice.
I want
Mhm.
to do that job. Will you mentor me?
You
That
can.
sounds so
Okay,
cool.
you know what's so funny? I had a friend visit this weekend, and I literally was like, I feel like I need to create something for individuals that want to do what I do with home energetics, because
Yeah.
Right.
it's a unique system that I've started to develop. So
And are you like putting crystals in a certain room for like this thing and then
yes.
like
Mhm.
different art and I want to do that.
You'd be
Exactly.
good at that.
Will you
Yes,
help people
yes.
go shopping for
Yeah,
their stuff?
I would love to do that. I would love to do that
You'd be
so
like,
much.
okay, I'm gonna take you to the store. You need to get this for
Mhm.
your room. Do this.
Yeah, I would love
Cute.
that actually. I usually create, like, especially if they're here, and I'll create a list for people if it's remote, like, here are some things you should get.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're in Austin, I'll usually bring them like a little kit that they then
Cute.
have. But yes, I love making recommendations like that. So for example, here's an easy one that people can do. Find your wealth corner. So
Mhm.
it's the easiest way is when you walk in your front door, you're going to go straight for as far as you can and then left as far as you can. So wherever
Oh
that hub,
no, mine's a disaster.
what's your,
My,
yeah, what's
it's
your,
a
what is it?
well, we had to empty out like our storage, and that was like my baby's
So
room,
that's your
and
storage
now
room.
it's literally just full of shit, and it's like crazy. You can barely walk in there.
Yeah,
I should get that figured out.
that's not recommended
What
as
if
a
I
wealth corner.
close the door? Is it
Close the
like
door.
it doesn't
Cl-
exist? Okay.
this is what I would do. I would close the door. I would also make a pact with that room. Do you have any kind of agenda of like when this is going to be sorted through?
No.
Like I would create some kind of timeline or something to create some kind of accountability system or something to move through it. And if you don't have the space for it right now, that's okay. But there needs to be the room needs to understand what's going on here, because the room is just like, why do I have all this crap in
Okay.
me? And how long
Okay.
am I having to hold this for?
Yes.
So like, it sounds silly for some people, but you want to talk to it and be like, hey, I know this is kind of a mess right now, but don't
Okay.
worry, I'm creating a plan and we are going to create a system, whatever it might be, or we're
And
not.
even if it needs to be storage, just having it organized
Yeah.
and
So that
set up well, so it's not just
A
an
disaster.
all
explosion.
thrown in there. Yeah. So I'm
Okay.
not saying that you can keep it as your storage, but it just needs to feel a little bit more intentional, or just be honest. Be like, the reality is this is going to be messy for a while and I'm owning that. And I'm not going to
Mhm.
feel bad about it. And I'm not going to feel shame whenever I think about it. I'm just going to allow it to be a space that holds my things. And when I have time, I will unbox them and it will be fun because I'll be able to be like, oh, this thing or that thing. So you could kind of look at it that way. And then maybe
Can I
like
make
keep
a
it aside.
different area the wealth corner, like, and tell that
Here's what you
area,
yeah.
like,
What you could
"Hey, you're
do,
taking over for now, buddy."
yeah, yeah, what you can do also, you can do it in a room. So, like, when you walk in a room, whatever the left corner is. So, like, but you have
Okay.
to be like if I'm like, so you walk in the door and you're standing in the door frame, whatever that left corner is, that can be the wealth corner too. So I do that in my office also. So like, even though my office isn't my wealth
Okay.
corner, I have a wealth corner in my office because I feel like it makes sense.
Yeah, totally. That's cute.
So that's
I
another
love
way.
that.
If yeah.
Okay.
Mine's my laundry room.
Okay. I actually, you would be surprised how many people have that. And I don't know if that's just the way homes are built now, where the freaking
I'm
laundry room
thinking
is the
mine
wealth
could
corner.
too if I like, because there's a wall here, but if I like move and go past the wall and then to the left, that is my laundry room as well.
Mhm.
Okay,
Well,
you could play with that in this context.
yeah.
So what I say for laundry room, you do have to keep it clean. Like, keep it clean. It's not like, fold that
Yeah.
laundry. If you're
Mine's
like
like
literally
laundry
piling,
and pantry. Like it's such like a multi-layered room,
okay.
and like we're
Mhm.
pretty good most of the time. Like we bring the laundry in and like to do the laundry and then pull it out. So it's not really
Okay.
like a pile of laundry often in
To
there
me,
unless
that's
it's like
not your
laundry
laundry
day.
room, though. You come in the front door.
It could be my like you have to walk through my kitchen to get to the laundry room. But if those doors are open, the
Oh
furthest
yeah, because
point to the
your
left
door
is
goes this
laundry.
way.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
And
sorry.
it's like I have like
Yeah.
my big freezer, like my pantry for
I
my
see.
kitchen's in
Yeah.
there and
It's
my
like,
laundry, and it's kind of
which
like
is
a tight little square room holding
right.
everything.
Okay. Well, I mean, I feel like having the freezer and like it being your pantry is kind of symbolic of wealth. That's very
Okay.
Jupiter.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
So, right, like having those things and then just
Mhm.
keeping it clear, keeping it clean. I like to tell people too, when you're doing the wash, think of it as like cycling through more abundance and like
Cute.
washing away lack and scarcity and
Love
allowing
this.
things to be more clear and clean,
Ooh,
etc.
mine is abundant because I was able to have all of these nice things that I
There you
don't even
go.
have space for.
Sure.
I love it.
Mhm.
Okay.
I like her pantry better, but yeah, sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
My husband listens, so that's good. He
Mhm.
will also help me with our wealth corner.
Perfect.
Yeah, there you go. There
Awesome.
you
I
go.
love this. This is so fun. Well, I know we're getting close to the end of our time together. Is there any last thing that you would really like people to know about you and what you do or your offerings or any last bits of
Yeah.
wisdom?
Yeah, I'd say just follow my name if you're curious about me. I'm kind of
Fun.
everywhere under Danielle Mercurio because that's what we do as a
Yes.
triple Leo. And what I would say just overall with like this current season that we're in, like please just don't be afraid to take the time to get to know yourself better. Don't be afraid to do
Mm,
things that maybe seem a little bit out there. Like this is really life-changing times and
Mhm.
you have choices within that. And I do believe that being part of this timeline that we're in, you're meant to be here. And I want you to know that. I want you to remember
Yeah.
that you do have a purpose, even if it doesn't feel clear.
Yes.
There will
Yes.
be a day where it comes online and you're like, oh, now I get it. And so
mhm.
keep showing up for that. Keep being curious. Be okay with things that don't feel aligned to you anymore. Like, don't feel like you have to force things to fit because so much is evacuating. Let it so that new
Yeah.
stuff can come in. Like, part of what we've been talking about is literally all about space clearing. And the reason why space is clearing is so that new can be invited in. And so don't
Mhm.
be afraid to pull the weeds so that you can have fertile ground for whatever's meant to come in. And so just continue to trust the process. Choose faith. Don't get too caught up in the noise and the outside distractions. Like stay in who you are and it will see you through this.
I love that so much. That's
Yes.
so good.
Everything she just said. I
So
agree.
good. So good. Okay.
Okay.
Cute.
Um, are we
Yeah, so we
card
have
first or question?
questions first.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have our two questions that we like to ask all of our guests. The first one is what is something that you do for self-care that you just cannot live without?
Sauna.
Ooh,
Right.
yeah.
Love. I
I
Want
want a
that so
love
bad.
sauna.
I gotta keep my fire. I gotta
Yeah.
sweat. I'm so fiery. I need to sweat it
Leo.
out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's true. I literally go to a place called Sweatland.
Love it.
It's like a Leo amusement park. I'm like, they have all different kinds of saunas too. You can do the
Hell
cabana.
yeah.
You can do one where you're laying down in a capsule. You can
Oh
do
my
red light. It's
goodness.
like a
Oh
whole.
my
It's
god,
a
I want
party.
What's
that.
your
So
favorite?
I like the capsule where you lay down. It's
That sounds
kind of awesome.
so
I like
restorative.
to lay down
Mhm.
no matter
Yeah,
what.
because imagine you're like, especially if it's too small, like the little cabana. I feel like I'm tall, so I feel like sometimes I'm like crunched in there, and I'm like, I don't know if
Mhm.
this is quite doing what it's supposed to. So
The
yes, I lay in the
lion
little
just
cabin,
wants to lay
be
down
in a
and get that
cocoon.
sunbathing.
Exactly, yes,
Love
and that's
it.
another thing I love to do too. I feel like walking is so important for me. I love just walking, being in nature, especially when I'm really in my head
Mhm.
and I don't wanna leave the house. It's
Mhm.
like, "No, you need to leave the house." It's like those
Yeah.
moments where it's like, go outside. Where I live now, I live right off a trail, and so I just
Oh,
walk the
great.
trail and, like, usually the first half is kinda sticky, but then by the time I
Yeah.
turn around and I'm, like, retreating back home, it's just like, "Yes, that was the medicine."
Mhm.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be? I can't say this the last couple days. And that could be all the way back, all the way to the present.
Like, "Don't listen to your mom." I do tell her that, so I'm like, "Don't, don't." What I would tell her though is you can literally do anything you want, and you
Yes.
will
Hmm.
never be too much. The way that
Yeah.
Yes.
you get to live your life is exactly how it's supposed to be, and it's what you're meant to do. So just trust it. You will be supported, and nothing will
Mhm.
go wrong, and nothing bad will happen.
So good.
Yes. Living in
Love it so much.
authenticity is, yeah, bad things aren't going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, they will, but
Yeah.
you'll get over them and it'll be good. And
They
you'll
will,
You'll
but
be
they're
equipped
Yeah.
in
in your
Yes.
authenticity.
Okay. Would you please pull a card for us, Danielle?
Yeah. So given the spring equinox, I grabbed the Gaia Oracle deck.
Oh, yes. Wonderful.
I felt that was good. And so we will pull. This is for everyone listening at whatever moment in their life this finds them. Eternal love.
Love
Yes.
frequency.
Look at this. We love. It says happiness, harmony, fulfillment.
Oh, that's
I
so
feel like
good.
I truly and it's you know what's so interesting too? It's like I feel like I've never noticed this deck or this card in this deck before. But I
Oh,
love the way that the sun is shining and then like the
Yes.
streams, like the DNA almost
yeah.
moving through.
Well,
And
you
so
were
it's just a
talking
reminder.
earlier about love technology. So I think that's
Yes.
so fitting.
That's crazy.
So symbolic. And it's saying a new page is turned as a concern you have dissolves and gives way to a period of sunshine. Time to relax and enjoy life, free of worry and doubt that have cast a gray shadow over your life for the past few weeks. Mercury
Oh.
retrograde. During the coming month or so, try to spend some time in nature. Allow yourself to reconnect with Gaia's nurturing and healing power. Immerse yourself in her natural beauty, for she will help you restore your balance, harmonize your energy centers, and replenish your mind, body, and spirit. It may be difficult for you to switch off at first, but after a little bit, your thoughts will slow down. You'll settle into the new and more relaxed rhythm. Make the most of life as you
Crazy.
can.
That's like literally their entire conversation.
Yeah.
And
also
spring, like
yeah.
coming out of
Spring.
this gray fog and
Mhm.
into the
Yeah.
sunshine and being able to have nature.
Also,
Wow.
your note about going on the walk too. It just
I know.
reminded me
It's
of
the
that.
same
Like
thing.
literally,
I know,
like
I was like,
it's
at
gonna
first
be
you're
hard
like,
at first.
and then
So
you
good.
harmonize. Yes. Yeah. So I really feel like that's the message. Just keep coming back to love. Love is truly
Yeah.
the experience.
Yes.
I love that so much. Well, you said follow your name to find you. Is that your Instagram? Is that the best
Mhm.
way? Yeah.
Yeah.
Website.
So website is daniellemercurio.com. Instagram. I have a podcast as well called The Danielle Mercurio Show.
Awesome.
So literally
Heck
just
yeah. Follow your name. You'll
Follow my
find
name.
all the goodness. I love it so much. Well,
This-
thank you so much. This was
So good.
so fun. I've learned so much. I'm excited to dive deeper now into other things as well. You are a gem, and we're so grateful that you spent some time with us today on Waking Up the Witch.
Yeah. Thank you both. It was so great to get to know you as well. You're just keep doing what you're doing. You're
Thank
both
you.
amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We love it.
This episode has been produced by my husband, Curtis Burgess.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Waking Up the Witch.
And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us at wakingupthewitch@gmail.com.
And don't forget to head over to the link in our bio on Instagram for all the ways to connect with both Amber and Taylor. And go to moonbeeswellness.com for all your self-care and witchy needs.
We love you. Bye.
Bye.
Ow.